Hey there, and welcome back to another exciting adventure in makeup. I am Bugcatcher Kate, and I'm so glad that you're able to join me. On this adventure, I'm going to be covering 2 of the 4 ColourPop and Animal Crossing eyeshadow palettes. I have already reviewed and done a tutorial / look with the other 2 palettes, which are the Nook Ink and What a Hoot eyeshadow palettes. So I do have another video using these if you'd like to check that out. But for this video, I was able to pick up the 2 palettes that I missed out on when they went on sale through Ulta. So for this video, I'm going to be using La Belle of the Ball and 5 Star Island. So I'm really excited for this look. The La Belle of the Ball palette is the one that I thought I was most excited for. It was kind of a toss-up between La Belle of the Ball and Nook Ink. The Nook Ink palette has a lot of really bright, like turquoise and minty colors, which I'm particularly fond of. I am kind of drawn to them in clothing and things, so I really wanted to make sure that I had an eyeshadow palette. But the La Belle of the Ball palette, as you can see, has these really gorgeous, rich purples. This one at the bottom, Custom Design, has kind of a blue iridescence. And then a really rich plum, Serene Sable, this really soft, it's almost an orchid, Taylor's Ticket with a silver glitter in there, and then Able Sisters for the glitter gel. And then the other palette that I'm going to be using is 5 Star Island. This one has this super soft sand color, super soft sand, which is actually what I'm going to be starting this look with. And then we've got Island Tune, which is a really nice coral kind of salmon. And then Island Designer is the glitter gel in this one. And then Resident Rep is this really gorgeous kind of burgundy or brick color, and it has 2 different colors of glitter in it. I just noticed actually there's a really soft pink that I didn't notice when I did the unboxing for this, and then there's a really, really soft gold. So this is the one that we're going to be playing with for the crease, I believe. And just to start off, you can see that I've done a really basic base. So I've got a little bit of BB cream on to help cover up the redness of some of my blemishes, and then powder on top of that as well. And then I did use a setting spray to make sure that everything stayed in place. And then if I get any fallout from the eyeshadow, I'll be able to brush it off easily without taking off too much of the product that I already have on my skin. So without any more hesitation, we're gonna go ahead and jump in to the eyeshadow look. I don't have a complete plan for what I'm gonna do, but I've got kind of an idea. So let me just move this stuff out of the way really quickly. And I'm going to start with this broad, kind of thick brush. I like to use this one to do the all over coverage for my lids, and I'm going to use Isabel, again that soft sand, and I'm just lightly going to pick that up with my brush. You can see all the product on there, and then I'm going to use that as the base for my look. So I'm just going to lightly brush that. Ooh. Alright, so a couple of things. It's a little bit thinner than I thought it would be, which you can see. I don't know if you can tell, but you can kind of still see the wrinkles, the natural like wrinkling of my eyelid, which is not a big deal. If I need to, I can go over it with another layer, but it's also very subtle. It has, I want to say almost like a soft, really, really, really soft, almost sage green shimmer, but I think it's actually just kind of a gold that has a little bit of pigment in there. So I'm going to do the same thing on the other eyelid. Just grab a little bit of that product with the flat side of the brush and then drag across there. And then I am going to pull this up into the brow because, again, I'm using this as the base for the whole look. So I'm going to pick a little bit more up and do that on this side as well. I did make sure to put a little bit of concealer down on my eyelids just to make sure that they were ready to hold a lot of pigment, because I know that some of these colors are super bright and I wanted to make sure that they came up very saturated. So I'm going to lean in just a little bit more, make sure that's even. And I'm just very lightly brushing back and forth, kind of like this, to lay down that color. And there's not much left on the brush, which is nice. That means that I've done a pretty good job so far of putting down a nice layer there. You can see there's quite a lot of shimmer in it, which is pretty fun. I like that. I've been looking for another base to use, because I like to use something that's kind of a nude color, something beigey, a little bit warm, and I think this is going to be really nice. Might have to use it a little sparingly though, because it's got just a tiny bit more shimmer than I would typically use under all of my shades. There are some colors that just won't look that great on top of a shimmer, especially if it's a matte that's not highly pigmented. So I'll just have to experiment a little bit. And then I am going to be doing my eyelids pretty soon here, so I wanted to go ahead and put down a second layer to make sure that there's nice and even coat of a kind of a primer, a little base coat there underneath to apply the rest of the pigment. And you can, excuse me, you can see that I have a ton of fallout on my face. So I'm going to grab this fluffy brush and I'm gonna just use that to brush all of the extra eyeshadow off of my face. And I am very lightly going to brush on my eyelids because sometimes there will be a little bit too much and will be a little bit cakey. And then if I'm trying to blend over that, it gets, the texture's not good. It doesn't blend well. So I want to just make sure that there isn't anything that's too cakey on there from those shimmers. It's really soft. It feels really nice. It's a very light wear. I could absolutely wear the shimmer from this palette by itself if I just wanted to throw on something really light. Probably wouldn't go all the way up to the brow bone if I was or up to the brow or the brow bone if I was going to do that. I would just use it for a lid. But it's really nice. It's subtle but catches the light really, really complimentary, I think. All right, so let me grab that palette again and let's just take a look at these two, because I am going to be using both of them. I'm not going to use all of the colors in them, of course, but I did want to mix it up a little bit so I could show everyone a couple of the different colors without having to do two separate videos. So I think that the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take Serene Sable and I'm going to use this for my brow. I have been doing some colorful brows lately, which has been really fun, but I don't want this one to be just that color. So first I'm going to use the Maybelline Tattoo Studio marker, which I always use, and it draws these nice little lines that imitate hairs. And I'm just gonna brush over the general outline. This is to fill it in so there's a good base, but it's kind of like a felt tip marker, so it's going to be just a tiny bit damp, and that's going to help the eyeshadow to stick better and help it to be more pigmented. So I'm just very lightly brushing in here again. I can touch it up later if I need to, but I really just want to get a tiny bit of that color in place before I start the rest of the look. And I'm actually going to use the same brush that I used before, but I'm just going to use this really soft tip edge. I like to blow out my brushes, or I'll like tap them to make sure all of the pigment is out. And I'm going to pick up that Serene Sable there, just again on the edge. And I'm going to pull some of that through my brow very lightly. I'm using super soft strokes, not really applying much pressure. That way it doesn't deposit too much of that pigment, because again, I really have been liking doing the colored brows, but I don't want it to be, I didn't want it to be too pigmented and not have a really solid base that's dark enough so it wouldn't look patchy. So I think the last time I did this, it looked nice, but I wish that I had done that brown pen underneath, just to make sure that it was filled in a little bit better. All right, now I'm going to, I blew the rest of the pigment off of there, so I'm gonna just make sure that it's all gone, and I'm just very lightly going to brush up and following the natural direction that my hair is lying, my eyebrow hair. Just gonna brush up and away. This is gonna knock any of the extra pigment out of there because I don't want it to fall out onto my lid while I'm working. I could have waited to do my brows, but I didn't want to. I was excited. All right, so you can see I kind of smudged that one a little bit with just a tiny bit of pigment. I like how subtle that is, and that when the light hits it, it's like, oh, that's purple, but it's not too in your face. It's not too bright. I really like that. What are we going to do? Let's see. I think I'm going to go in next with Taylor's Ticket, and I'm going to use that to layer the lid. Where's that brush I just had? Oh, I almost forgot to put the lid on my eyebrow brush. It would have dried up and I would have been so sad. All right, there's that brush again. Just knock the extra off. And I'm gonna do the same thing that I did before with the Isabel color, where I just took the flat of the brush and did it in a circle. I'm gonna do the same thing with Taylor's Ticket here. I just wanna pick up a little bit of that pigment because I wanna see how it applies on the lid. Let me take one more check. I love these colors, these are really nice. All right, so I'm going to start from the center and go out towards the outer edge. Ooh, that's sparkly, my goodness. Ooh, there's gonna be tons of fallout. All right, and the reason I started in the center and pulled it out was because I was pretty sure that I put too much on my brush and I didn't want a bunch to get like stuck in the inner corner there. So I'm just lightly brushing it back towards the inner corner. I'm gonna sweep it out in this nice rounded shape that's following the shape of my crease. I'm gonna go ahead and grab the big fluffy brush and just get all of that off there before it's even a problem. Look how shimmery that is. That's really nice. I like that. And I'm sure that if I put it on damp, it would be much more color fast. It would hold the glitter a little bit better, and then also hold the pigment a little bit better, which we will test momentarily. Is that true? I didn't bring a cup of water today. I completely forgot. I was doing so good too. I hadn't licked a brush in like so many videos. All right, come back over here. Now I just really want to make sure that they're nice and even. I really like this color. I was afraid that it was going to be a little bit too pink on me because it's so much warmer than like these two, but I think that it's actually really nice on my skin tone. Whoops. Let's get Mr. Fluffy Brush here. All right, and then I am just gonna pretend like I have a little cup of water over here. And I wet my brush a little bit. I'm gonna close this one. And I'm gonna grab more of that Taylor's Ticket. And again, this is just to see if it, how the staying power is. Ooh, that's nice. I like that. That's actually a really pretty color. I'm much more enamored with it as an all over color than I thought I was going to be. I thought I'd like it more as an accent, but that's lovely. All right, we're going to switch now. Oh, first we gotta take our fluffy brush, because anything that has a lot of glitter in it that isn't, I don't exactly know how to explain this where it will make sense, but The shimmers are almost tacky, like they stick more to the skin, whereas the mattes that have the glitter in them are a little bit flakier. They're a little bit drier almost, so there's more fallout from them. Just keep that in mind, that if you wet the brush before you use something like that, it's going to help it stick more. Similarly to using a primer, it just helps give something for the pigment to actually adhere to. Alrighty, now I'm going to switch over to my little rounded brush, and I'm just going to dig in. I don't know if this is going to work, but I'm going to try it. I'm going to go with Island Tune, and I'm going to try this as my crease. I thought I was going to do Resident Rep, and I might still, but I want to just make sure that these colors don't clash too much first. So I'm just lightly going to put it into the crease there. Oh no, I think this will be lovely. All right, so I'm not going to worry too much about making this perfect because I am going to go back over it with Resident Rep and darken the crease there. But this gives a really nice base for that because the that lilac-y orchid color I didn't take up as high. So this will be better for the blending of that crease color. That's really nice, so a little subtle shift. I love this color. One of my friends has their hair dyed very similar to that color right now, and it's really charming on her. All right, make sure, see on this eye I brought it over a little too far, so I just want to make sure to keep it as even as I can. Pull it over that way. And then I'm going to switch to that rounded brush again, or excuse me, that flatter brush because it has more of a tip to it. And I'm going to wet the brush, and then I'm going to go in with Resident Rep. And wetting the end of it, just make sure that I don't pick up too much pigment because I did. I picked up way too much. Then I'm just going to very lightly smudge this into that crease there. Oh, I'm so glad that I went in with Island Tune before Resident Rep because I think it's really going to help it blend up into the brow there. I think it would have been a little too stark without the nice salmony color under there. You can see those are totally different shapes. So let's fix that. This one has a nice kind of sweeping oval, and then this one is a little bit flatter. So I want to pick up a little bit more of that pigment and make sure that I'm trying to follow the same shape. I didn't realize I was doing that shape over here really, but since we noticed, might as well try to keep it consistent. I'm going to bring this down just a little bit because I think it's a really pretty color. And I actually love the way it looks with that soft lilac. I'm going to switch to a super fluffy brush and just very gently go over that. There's going to be a lot of fallout. This is probably going to be a process that I'm going to have to redo a couple of times because I want a really soft gradient edge. And the best way to do that is multiple applications. And it takes a little bit of time. And I'm usually not that patient and I don't blend it out that nicely. But today, I think I will. So I'm going to go back to this rounded brush that did I even use? I said I was going to use it. I can't even remember now. Oh, I totally did. I used it for Island Tune. Wet the brush and then pick up just a little bit of that pigment. Just a tiny bit. Because we're going to go back into the crease. And then this time it is much more damp, so it's going to make the color much darker. And this, of course, is to emphasize where the darkest part on my eyelid is, which is where the crease is. The crease is where the shadow falls naturally on your eyelid, so that is, of course, going to be the darkest area. Typically, if you are darkening your crease in any look, you're really just accenting that shadow there to bring depth to your eyes and to your face. Again, this one's super glittery, so I just want to make sure that I am not catching any sneaky colors. All right, that's much nicer. See how much more glittery this one is than this one? See, almost no glitter. That's because this one was more damp. So I'm going to do it again. More damp is going to pick up more of that glitter. This is also probably a great time to use something like a primer or a concealer if you wanted to have a really clean cut there, to have like a really sharp line. I don't want that. I want the opposite. I want a really soft line. So I'm just gonna brush that off really quickly. And now I'm going to take this brush, now that it's cleaned, I just brushed it off on a paper towel. I'm going to very lightly kind of smudge at the edge of where that nice sandy color and this deeper, I should tell you what the colors are called. I'm smudging between Isabel and Resonant Rep. Sorry about that. So just very gently, and I will go back over with Isabel to make sure that it shows up, because I am smudging it up a little higher than I thought I was going to be. So you can see up here, it like completely takes away all of that nice subtle shimmer that was there. Ooh. This is really cool. But you can see in blending, I've taken off a lot of the glitter on there. I'm just gonna say in general, these colors with the matte base and the intense glitter probably need to be applied damp or with a concealer or a primer, something that will make your skin tacky or, you know, adhesive. Don't use glue. Don't do it. Don't use glue. All right, so I'm going to get a really thin fan brush and I'm going to wet it. And I'm going to pick up more of that Resonant Rep, and I'm just going to stamp in this shape because the blending kind of really took that out. And I want that to be nice and defined. So we're going to do the same thing on this side. Just to darken that up a little bit. The glitter adds so much light to it that even though it is the darkest color on this palette and it looks pretty dark on, obviously because it's thinner of course as well, but because of the shimmer it brightens it up quite a bit. I think that I need just a little bit more on the right there. There we go, to even it up. There we go. Now we've got that thick line with that glitter right in the crease. Whoops. Made a mistake. It's okay, I've got this dry brush which is acting as an eraser. So I'm gonna go back in with a little bit of Eyelid Tune and just right here at the edge where my eyebrow is. I don't know why, I just thought it would be fun to put a little bit more of that color in because it did kind of all get blended over. It was basically a base for Resonant Rep there. So I just want to make sure that it gets a little bit of attention because it's a super pretty color. And then I'm going to pick up some Resonant Rep with the dry brush and then just very gently tap through the crease. Most of this is probably going to fall out, but that is okay because any of it that doesn't will make a really nice addition to that crease. So when I have a lot of things on that I am anticipating are going to have some fallout, I will typically just blow up onto my face. Because that sends it flying, and then I will follow up with the brush to make sure that I don't have any additional on my face. All right, and then I'm going to squint here. I need to get another dense brush. That's just, I need to get one. There's no excuse. So I'm going to switch back to the same brush that I've been using. Go ahead and grab more of Isabel and just very lightly line the edge of my brow. This again is going to bring attention to those super soft gradients there and then also differentiate where the brow is, which I like. I like bold brows. I didn't think that was my thing, but it's fun. I like it a lot. All right, they're still not shaped the same, and I think that is okay. Looks like this one is more rounded, so I'm gonna try just to even this out, just to make it a little bit more rounded. And we can do that by picking up a little more of that light color and kind of masking some of the shape there. Very lightly drawing across that. There we go, that's a little more even. And I think that this is a tiny bit harsh, this transition, so I'm just gonna very lightly tap down towards that line to make sure that they blend together nicely. Same brush, I'm gonna go back in to the Labelle of the Ball palette, and I want to use more of Taylor's Ticket. I'm going to place it back through on the other side where we didn't put as much of it before, and I am going to make sure that the brush is a little damp, because we know that it has a ton of glitter in it and that does not want to stay. So to get the best bang for my buck on this one, I'm just gonna tap it on instead of trying to drag it across, because this will ensure that the glitter stays put, kind of like what I did in the crease when I was stamping that shape out rather than drawing it across. I'm gonna flip over, do the same thing, make sure that my brush is a little damp, and then just place it very gently over there. I just want to make sure that the area that I didn't cover up earlier has a really nice layer of pigment on it. I want to make sure there aren't any bald areas. Blow that brush out. All right, I'm going to use the same brush because it is a really great brush. And I just really want to soften this edge out a little bit. It's too harsh. It's not what I wanted. I want it to be a little bit softer. There we go. So if you have a dry brush, which this one is dry at this point, because I was really just dampening this side here. But if you have a dry brush, it can come in really handy for picking up messes. Like if you have a little bit of mascara under your eye or something, or you need to do some blending, having a dry brush handy is really helpful. So you can see that I'm covered in glitter. So I'm going to grab my fluffy brush again and sweep that glitter off of my face. And I'm actually going to lean back here really quickly. And because some of this is really delicate, I'm going to use a setting spray before I do anything else, because I want to make sure that the pigment stays really bright. So this setting spray is Wannabe Free Makeup Setting Spray that controls shine from Ulta. They're like in-house. So I'm just gonna, forgot I wasn't doing my whole face, but that's cool. Just gonna fan off my eyes to make it dry faster because I'm a little impatient. As setting sprays go, this one's fine. I've only used a few and it's been kind of hit or miss. It's like, yeah, it does a pretty good job, but for most of them, it doesn't control the shine as much as I wish it did. But for eyeshadow, especially for keeping it in place and making sure that it doesn't desaturate throughout the day, love it. Super good. All right, now let's take a look here. Let's make sure it's still recording too. Yes, it is. Paranoid about that now. All right, I actually think that I'm going to switch to do some blush because I think that will determine what else I do with my eyes. So this is the blush, one of the two blushes from the Animal Crossing and ColourPop collection. This one is Flower Tender, and it is the more peachy, orangey colored one. Isn't that pretty? And it has so much gold in it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and pick that up with my angled brush. And this is the first time I'm using it, so I'm really, really excited. You can see it's super pigmented. I'm worried that it might have too much orange in it to go well with these colors, because the some of the purples are very cool purples, whereas obviously the pinks are warm. So just gonna do my usual and sweep it up. Oh, that's really nice. Oh, that coverage is much lighter than I thought it was going to be. I'm very used to the eyeshadows being like super highly pigmented, but this is actually really nice. It's probably a little bright for some people. I mean, the amount that I have on now, but it doesn't really smell like anything, I don't think. It just kind of smells makeup-y. So I'm just patting it on. That's really pretty. Okay, but it is super warm, so what I want to do is I want to make sure that I do the rest of my makeup just a little bit cooler. So I'm going to take Serene Sable and I'm going to use it for the under eye. And to do that, I'm going to take my fan brush because I just want to pick up a little bit of that pigment. And I want to start at the corner and just very lightly draw it towards the middle. Now I wanted to use this one to make sure that the warmer pinks and that brick color don't overwhelm the look. I don't want it to turn too red looking because I do love these gorgeous purples. This one is really pretty. It's really just a gorgeous color. All right, so just drawing it in towards the center of my eye a little bit. I think, oops, that's a little crooked. I think that this helps balance the look a little bit too, because it was, I think if I had done the same brick color on the bottom, it would have looked a little too heavy. So I got a fluffy brush now just to really softly fix that up. I'm actually going to use the fluffy brush and pick up a little bit just to do a little bit more of a smoky eye. So I'm just patting it very gently, focusing on the outer corner of the eye. It looks pretty messy because I'm just starting that kind of smoky outline. All right, fluff out that brush. I'll actually switch to a different brush, one that's just a little bit more dense. Same concept, still a fluffy brush, but this one is a lot more, has a lot more play to it, whereas this one is a little bit more stiff. This one is going to be our blender down here just to soften out those edges because we got a little crazy. And I do also want to blend it up into this kind of brick color. Where's my fluffy brush? Oop, there's the fluffy brush. It looks like I need to blend it over here just a little bit more. I think I need to pick up just a tiny bit more of the product, and I'm going to do that with this thicker brush because I think I accidentally blended it off, which can totally happen, especially if you have, like I said, a dry brush, which I did. There we go, that's better. There's still a little bit of a line though from where I put it on with that thin brush, so I'm going to try to fix that by just very lightly blending down. Stab myself in the eye. That kind of hurt. Whew. All right, there we go. That's a little bit better. I'm not sure exactly what happened there, but that's super pretty. All right, and then I'm going to do, let's see, of the two glitters, I'm gonna do Able Sisters, I think, again, to get a nice cool color in the look. I'm gonna pick up Able Sisters with my finger, and it is a glitter gel, so it is not quite pigmented enough to be worn by itself. I mean, you totally can, but it won't look this kind of purple. It'll basically just look really soft, really shimmery. And then the glitter itself is kind of the star in these. So there it is on the back of my hand. You can see how gorgeous it is, and I still have plenty. So I'm going to actually do this under my eye. Woo, that was a lot. Wow, that was a lot. And then I'm also going to very lightly, with whatever happens to be left, which is just a little bit of shimmer, just put that up on the highest point of my cheeks as a little bit of a highlight, and that way I'm also not wasting any of the product that's already on my hand. Yay! I have a couple Q-tips ready in case, and for this I'm just going to pick some of this up because it went a little further down than I wanted. So I picked up a little bit on the Q-tip, and then I'm just gonna try to mimic the same shape with that. I love this glitter. I probably say that about all of them, but I really like the really subtle different colors in this. It's got like a super soft orange almost in some of the glitter. So I'm trying to pick up just a little bit more to put some right there. There we go. Alrighty. All right, I'm gonna go back with this pointy one again, wet it just a little bit, grab Serene Sable, and now I'm just gonna make sure that I've got a couple little lines that are vaguely hair-shaped with that nice purple, and make sure that the tails here are filled in. Whoop. And then I'm going to do my lashes. Oh, my lashes very quickly with the Colossal by Maybelline, my favorite mascara. And I don't want my lashes to be too crazy because these colors actually turned out softer than I was expecting. Like they're certainly pigmented, but they're a little bit softer on my skin than I thought they were going to be. So I don't think I want to do a really thick liner or really outrageous lashes. So I'm just going to focus on the outer corners here. Just make little soft strokes and in towards the nose. That's how you add the volume, is bringing it in. Then you can pull it back out a little bit to separate them. There we go. And then I am going to do some bottom lashes, but just in this outer corner on both eyes where I've got that darker plum on the underneath, because I don't want any of the lashes on top of the glitter to be covered. Why not? I don't know. Just feels like it'll be a little bit more dramatic to have this all like kind of paled out, which is kind of fun. And then I'm going to grab my NYX matte liquid liner, and I'm going to do a little bit of liner just to make sure that the edges and corners here are clean. Because usually when I'm doing my mascara, I will mess up just a little bit and get a tiny bit of mascara on my face. So just pull a little there, or on my eyelid, excuse me, not on my face. Whoops. Oops. All right, so I'm gonna have to pull the one on the right end just a little bit more. And then instead of trying to fix that and pull my wing up, because I wasn't planning on doing wings, I'm just going to Q-tip it. Dry Q-tip. I'm putting pressure and rotating, rotating away and pulling towards my eye, if that makes any sense. It's the best way to pick it up without it getting everywhere. That's kind of nice. It's a nice little point. All right, I'll try to imitate it on the other side. Just a little one. There we go. All right, and I'm gonna pull this down just a little bit because it's not quite even. And then make sure they're starting at about the same place on each lid, which is a little bit further in from center. All right, and then I think I'm gonna put a little bit more of this blush on. I just really like it. It's really soft. I enjoy it a lot. This is so much fun. All right, and then last but not least, is that true? Are we already last but not least? I have an eyeliner I was going to use, but I don't think I am actually going to like it with this look, so I'm going to skip it. But next time I'm going to do a colored eyeliner, because I never do them. So last but not least, one of the products I was super excited for when I was able to get it from Ulta, because they were completely out of stock on ColourPop's website, is the lip crayon. And this is the first of ColourPop's products that I've used for the lip. One of my friends recommended their products. I was like, hey, have you used them? Because I'm thinking about getting some from the Animal Crossing collection, and she said that she has used many of their lip products and that she has really enjoyed them. So I was super excited. The other color that came in this set is this one. This is the packaging. It's super cute. I love the packaging for this. The whole line, adorable. But the two colors are Incomparable, which is the one I'm going to be using for this look, and then Coconut Juice. And Coconut Juice is this really beautiful, deep kind of, again, like brick, which is a really pretty color, and it's going to be gorgeous on me, but a little too bold for how soft the colors are on my eyes. So glad that I went with the Incomparable. Just gonna slip this one back in here and put it back away. So it is like a little lip crayon, and it's super nice because they smell wonderful. And the coverage is pretty good, which is surprising. I thought it was going to be more like, more similar to some other products that I've used that have a much lighter coverage, but here we go. Let's see. I'm gonna start with my upper lip by, again, drawing out that kind of M shape. See how nice that is? It's already like just a warm kind of I don't know, I don't want to say it's like it's not like a beige, it's not quite a brown, it's not an orange. I'm not really quite sure what color I'd put this as. Maybe it is, it's like a nude, kind of like an orangey soft nude, but there's the color. I'll put just a little bit more on the bottom. So it's interesting. It's like a butter gloss. It's really soft. It's super moisturizing. I tried it on the other day after I did the opening video, and it's super wearable. I didn't even notice it was on after a while. It doesn't like get sticky or tacky. So super happy with it. What do we think of the look? Let's see. Did we do everything? We got our eyeliner and our mascara. I can't see like at all. There's just a tiny sliver of mirror. That's why I've been. Whoop. But all right, let's, had to drop something. Hadn't dropped anything yet. Let's take a look at the final product. So we have the Flower Tender blush, which is that soft kind of corally peach with the gold. And then eyeshadows from both of those palettes, as well as the lip color. I think that these all went together surprisingly well, which is really nice, because, you know, if I had ordered them in different ways, I don't think it would have turned out that well. I don't know that I would have been able to pair Nook ink with La Belle of the Ball and make that work out really well. So very happy that they ended up coming in the two packages that they did. I don't believe there's going to be any more restocks for this. I haven't heard anything about it. If you are interested in trying to pick up some of the products, you can go to ColourPop's website, and there is a button underneath the product that says email me, and that will set up an email alert. So if it goes back in stock, you will get an email for that. Thank you again for joining me on another adventure in makeup. This is probably the last Animal Crossing one that I'm going to do for a little while. I'm probably going to dive into some of the other palettes. But if you have joined me for the Animal Crossing content, thank you so much. I will make more, don't worry. If you have a particular color or look that you would be interested in seeing me do, drop a comment. I would love to do that. Yeah, thank you again for joining me, and hit that subscribe button if you'd like to keep up with the content. But otherwise, see you around. Have a good day. Bye.